So we're a couple months into 2020, and I've been thinking a lot about what I could do to send off the end of the decade. And instead of doing another listicle and rattling off 10 games that everyone is going to talk about, I realized there's only one game that I've finished this past decade that I still think about almost every day. Celeste is exceptional. From the first moments to the end credits, every second of this game is perfectly plotted out. There's a hand-built feeling to it that makes the conversation between the developer and the player feel two-sided. And a big part of that conversation comes from how the story is presented. The story is one that many, particularly in the gaming community, can probably relate to. Feelings of anxiety and social discomfort are commonplace, and having a world to escape to like Celeste that essentially says, "I understand," is refreshing and encouraging. The player character Madeline is attempting to travel up Celeste Mountain. Though her reasons are unclear, even to herself, she's determined to do it. Along the way, she meets some strange characters like Theo, Mr. Oshiro, and even her negative self. It's because of these characters that Madeline learns to deal with the sides of her personality that she'd rather avoid. She deals with them by facing them head on. She's able to overcome self-doubt, her mistreatment of others, and herself, all while climbing a mountain for reasons that remain unclear. But that's what makes the story great. The reasons for climbing the mountain don't matter. The fact that you and Madeline are trying is what matters. But this never feels like hollow sloganing. The game shows rather than tells. Even in the more monologue-y moments, this kind of talk never overstays its welcome and feels pertinent to the moment. One moment that sticks out to me is when Madeline is chasing after her negative self, trying to talk to her. What I love about this sequence is that it's not a boss fight. The penultimate moment is a conversation. It shows the player that violence doesn't need to be the solution to a tense situation. Words and an open mind are powerful tools. But so are listening and understanding. And that's what makes Celeste's narrative so powerful. The player is shown how to listen and how to respond, and we see real growth from Madeline at the end. The end of Celeste is both a narrative and gameplay catharsis, and as a player, I felt an overwhelming sense of accomplishment upon rolling the credits, because let me tell ya, this game ain't easy. Every level is a small struggle, with new additions to push the player's skills to points thought unreachable. The controls are tight and feel incredibly thought out. There are no superfluous actions. Every challenge that's added into the game is added because it's beatable, not because it's challenging. The best example is late in the game, when the player is trying to fight with the wind toward the top of the mountain, and the game teaches the player to jump with the wind, and utilize this obstacle as a tool. This accomplishes two things. It retreads a lesson already taught, using obstacles to complete levels, and it makes the player feel smart for well-timed jumps. It also ties into the game's theme. Players learn to overcome the obstacles by working with them, rather than in spite of them. Madeline learns to confront her challenges rather than run away from them, much like how players take leaps of faith into the wind rather than simply wait for them to go away. Once players start to feel accomplished, the game provides twists and turns to the formula to force them to adapt their playstyles. Much like in life itself, where people need to adjust to the conditions they find themselves in, Madeline needs to adjust how she climbs the mountain and how she deals with her anxiety. It reinforces this idea that things like depression and anxiety aren't simple things, and they can manifest in different ways. The end of the game doesn't demonize the evil manifestation of Madeline. Rather, Madeline has learned and truly grown from her experiences. She accepts the darker sides of herself, and as a result becomes more powerful and able to complete her journey because of it. This is reflected by giving the player a new ability, helping the player and Madeline finish the game and climb the mountain. She is one with herself. Whatever her reason is for climbing Celeste Mountain, the view from the top is all the better because of who she became along the way. So do yourself a favor and play Celeste by Matt Makes Games. It's an exceptional platformer, and it's the best game of the last decade.